Hello. I haven't been live in ages. I'm only going live for a minute because I want to tell you things about books. I have just ordered a copy of a book, and the book is William S. Burroughs' The Job, and it's interviews. It's sort of an adapted from interviews book, and I have a link in the description under the video of what I was listening to this morning. I don't really like audiobooks usually because the voice in my head that reads books, the way some people have a head voice for books, it tends to be very different from other readers. And this one is one of these AI voices, which I find very weird for books because the intonation is completely different and often pronunciation is weird on some words. So, and then, you have regional accents and things that can put people off. I'm sure I've put people off reading books on this channel before. But this book, I thought this is a really interesting book. And uh, Burroughs is somebody who's always interesting because he's a very arty writer, and is also he was writing in the 50s, where some of his most famous books, and well, I think the only book of his I've read is The Naked Lunch. And he used to be a junkie, and The Naked Lunch was about being a junkie and what it was like being a junkie. It's a fascinating book. But I was doing some of my crochet. I'm doing a crochet bag this morning. And I said, I'll listen to an audiobook because I'm getting sick of YouTube videos. Backed off YouTube a lot. But um, I thought I'd love to read this book in a paperback. Okay. So I also thought, it's so chock-a-block with ideas from what I was listening to in the audiobook that I'd like to discuss some of the ideas because, of course, I'm an artist as well. I'm a type. So a lot of the ideas are about art, culture. I have it in the description, like, just a very rough summary of the main ideas, but like everybody was influenced from his books because he was on the cusp of a cultural and social revolution, technological revolution coming into the 60s. He was kind of started 50s cultural beatnik kind of culture in America. He was a big figure in that, and didn't just sit around getting stoned all the time. Was a very creative person. So I loved The Naked Lunch and thought it was an incredible book. And this book promises to be really good as well. So I propose we do a kind of a book club for this that is a discussion of the book. I don't want to do a reading. The book is only 200 and something pages. I don't really want to do a reading the book from beginning to end because it's quite time consuming and challenging for me to do. And if say something like my mic is working, this has happened to me before, I'll get through a whole episode with a mic not working and get no feedback from anybody saying, hey, your mic isn't working. And it's very annoying. So I don't want to put that much time into it. But what I'd love to do, and I think a certain sort of person on my channel might like to do, but I will speak about, I'm going to modify that a bit if possible. I'll speak about that in a second as well. What I'd very much like to do is I'd like to read the book, encourage anybody who thinks they would be very interested in an analysis with me of this book to read the book, get themselves a hardback copy if you can. If you listen to the AI version that's here on YouTube, that's linked to in my description, that's grand. You can work with just that if you want. I actually had to put the recording of the AI version of it on a slower timing, set the video on a slower timing so that the narrator went slightly slower for me because it's that full of ideas that you'll want to pause all the time to consider the ideas. Sorry about my hair sticking up. It always does that unless I put sort of greasy stuff in it. So never behaves. But So this is the idea. It's a book club kind of idea. I'm thinking every time I do one of these book things, right? All the people that like my crafts stuff, a lot of them unsub from my channel because they go, I just want completely craft content, and the book things turning up annoy me. So I get people unsubbing, and I think that that would be amped up hugely by the inclusion of Burroughs because it's very deep stuff. Okay, and not everybody wants to go that deep if they just want to make something and do some crafting things. Now, crafting can be deep as well because I'm doing an art series that's based around craft work that I've been doing as well, but incorporating it with fine art. So art seeps into everything, and Burroughs is very aware of that. He's so clued in, and he's really interesting because he um, predicted, like Alvin Toffler did in Future Shock, predicted a lot of stuff very accurately what was going to happen now, basically, back then, and had such deep insight into it. So it's going to be a fantastic book. However, I'm thinking I have another channel that I've started, and I haven't got any content on it yet because I had to authenticate the channel. It's getting turned into a lousy experience online in terms of tracking ID and governments trying to control you, basically. There's going to be a lot of talk about that in the Burroughs book because he does a lot on mind control and programming. And, like TV was kind of one radio earlier, but TV was one way of programming people, wasn't it? Like a Pavlov's dog. So he speaks about all that. But I think I would try and animate that channel for this discussion because I have noticed, and I came on recently to say how thrilled I was with it, that people are. I was promoting the analog idea of getting away from things online as much as possible and reinventing your analog life if you're of a generation like me, who remembers what an analog life is like, or finding out what an analog life is like, and doing a lot more analog things if you're of a younger generation who sort of grew up online and grew up with smartphones and things like that. And there's a huge trend towards that at the moment because people are sick of it, what a lot of platforms are doing in terms of trying to program you, basically, and how intrusive they are about that and how they're demanding all your information constantly now. So, dear viewer, I will do that for you. But I'm doing it for me as well because I like thinking out loud. So that, if I can get that channel working, it will be on that channel. And I haven't linked that underneath the video yet. I want to switch my account, get the link, come back here and stick it in, and I will stick it in the description then. But there's nothing on that channel yet. I just have the channel called Your Analog Life. But if you could be so kind, if you think this sounds very interesting, to be able to just to follow along with that book chapter by chapter, not reading the whole thing. I'm not going to be reading the whole thing for you. You would read the book with me. I'll say where I am in the book and everything. We'll read a bit and discuss it kind of maybe a chapter at a time. Don't know what way the book is laid out, but it's a short book, but with a lot in it. So it's Burroughs, The Job, Interview, right? So it's interviews with William Burroughs, basically. It's taken from interviews, but it reads in quite an easy way to read for something that's in an interview format because he tends to speak in a long, interesting format. Anyway, it's not just, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, all the way through, very short. It's very rich. And so anybody interested in it would be typically something media studies students would love, but we all are now because we're so online a lot of the time, and we are only starting now very recently to become very aware of the mechanisms behind that. up to a few years ago, most people had no idea what was happening to them, and they're starting to understand now. So that's great. Um, but I think that it's more appropriate for that channel if I can get my live stream working okay on that channel. So if you wouldn't mind, if you want to do that, I'm only waiting for the book to arrive. I've just ordered it this morning. Um, I've ordered it from that Big River website. I won't give anybody free advertising. If they're a millionaire, they can do their own advertising. But it should arrive in a few days' time. So the first video on that, I'd probably do it as a live stream because I actually like giving my reactions to things off the top of my head. So that first live, let's say, video, or possibly a recorded one if I can't get live to work, will be on that Your Analog Life channel, which you can find now by just looking up. If you want to look it up, you'll see it. But I'll stick the link to it in the description. So click the link when I put it in and directly after doing this, and sub, and you won't miss it because you'll then, with the little bell thing, you know the way you press the little bell icon and you get a notification to say when the first one is starting. So your first thing would be either get the book, or if you like audio books and you can put up with AI or they don't bother you too much, listen to it. Definitely listen to that version of it for a few minutes to see if you think that the book would sound exciting or something interesting for you. But that's the reason why I'm thinking not to put it on this channel if possible. Now, I would have loved to have a channel, and that was the purpose of this channel originally, where I could just put all my interests on one channel. But it's not just that YouTube encourages people to have a channel only about one topic. It's that people are kind of being programmed to only have a few interests in life and not be a well-rounded kind of person with millions of different interests. So this is why channels that group all these different interests on YouTube don't do well and actually lose subs. People get confused about, well, what does this channel actually do? And they like you to do one thing all the time. So it's already difficult enough for me on this channel with various hobbies that I do. But I think if I slap William Burroughs into it as well, I could be banjaxed completely, because I could kind of, people go, oh my God, what has she given us now? I'm out. So I would like to keep the few subs I have. But if I can't get it on the other channel, I'll do it here. Because I don't, I'm not so regimented that I care about subs so much that I don't care about losing some. But it'd be nice to have somebody listen to that if I'm going to go to the bother of analysing a book in depth and talking about a book in depth and what ideas in it are most exciting to me. To do it on in a place that I can corral off people who are interested in that thing and not actually annoy the other people. And it also, the idea is that a lot of readers are like me, that if they're reading a book that's very exciting, they want to talk about the book, okay? So people try and drag people off to different platforms to do that, and that's fine. That's a way to do it. But you can do it for free in somebody's comment section. So why not? Why don't we do that? Put in any kind of random thoughts you have about the book as you're going along, discuss them with each other, reply to other people's comments. It could be very, very interesting. And I'd be tempted to put my community comments open for that, except that I think that that's just an open invitation for trolls to put in all kinds of horrible things, and I'd have to moderate. I think that the community, having the community tab, people be able to post stuff in the community tab, is a great idea. It would be lovely for, crafts like this if people behaved, but you get a lot of trolls online, so that's not going to work. So, but the comment section thing will work very well, and if people want to talk, they will be talking about the book, or they're bound to be talking about something related to the book, and as long as you don't use bad language or say horrible things about each other in comments, I'm going to be okay with that, you see. So get your hands on the book somehow, either the audiobook or order a hard copy, and we'll start reading the book together and discuss it. And it's going to be very exciting. So listen to a bit of the audiobook first. It's going to be a book you're going to reread and want to read passages again in slowly just to understand. And then for the wowness of some of the things he says in it. I've actually written down a few of the things that he said. It's that good, that I'm going, oh my goodness, this is so brilliant. There were stuff about cut up techniques that people like David Bowie were very inspired by in writing their music. And poets and everything. There were a lot of, poets like Ginsberg and people like that would have been very inspired by some of these kind of ideas going around. Although there are earlier ideas about writing, like Gertrude Stein had some sort of experimental ideas like that. They're very creative ideas. So anybody creative is going to really love that book and find an awful lot to be inspired about in it, and a lot if you're the sort of person that likes discussing things or talking about them to further analyze. You're going to enjoy talking about them in comments. Okay, so I'm going to go off, get my link to my other channel, come back, stick it in the description area, and you can sub then, and you won't lose your way to the other channel. And I shall see you then in within the week, probably. So you have enough time to get your hands on the book as well. And it's I think the edition that's out at the moment, it's particularly nice cover and everything. So it's like nice as a collector's item. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. And I hope for the craft people, if they're still listening to this at the moment, I hope you're really enjoying all your craft stuff at the moment and having a good time with that. And spring is on the way in a lot of places. Depending on where you are in the world, I suppose the season might be different for you. So if you're freezing, you might get a bit warmer, or if you're too hot, you might get a bit cooler. And we can all be comfy coming into the next season. Okay, see you then, and pick up your copy. Bye-bye. I was going to say coffee. See ya.